to JS Sports Insiders. I'm Bob Wolfley. I'm here today with Tom Haudricourt, the Brewers beat reporter, and what everyone's talking about with the Brewers, besides their lack of pitching last season, is their search for a new manager. And you've been reporting that they're sending out a wider net now of candidates. Tell us about that.
Well, it looks like they're kicking the tires on a lot of people. A couple of years ago when they hired Ken Maka, they really quickly narrowed it down to 4 people. Now they've already interviewed 4, and Doug Melvin says he may go as high as 10. And so some people say, well, that's indecisive. Well, I disagree. I think it's making sure they do their due diligence on everybody. There's the usual group of managers who've managed before who are available, but then there's like a sort of a new wave bunch of managers, guys who have coached or managed in AAA or been bench coaches. And, every now and then you do have to turn the group over. We have Bobby Cox leaving this year, and Lou Pinella's retiring, and Joe Torre might be retiring. So you can't always just have the same guys every year. So the Brewers are definitely taking a look at a wider array of people. And then, the New York Times reported yesterday that even Bobby Valentine, who's probably like maybe the quote-unquote sexiest name out there, a guy, who's has charisma and who's been in big places before and who's now seen every day on television on ESPN. Is he a Milwaukee kind of guy? I don't know, but maybe the Brewers want to make a big splash with this manager to try to reinvigorate their fan base.
Right. And do you get any urgency from them because the Cubs are in search of a manager too?
Oddly enough, and not just the Cubs, but other teams too. But like you point out, that's their main competitor. So you'd hate for them to hire a guy that you wanted to hire. But you don't really sense that when you talk to Doug Melvin, that he's worried about somebody's going to get away to another club. And it's like he wants to make sure he interviews all of the right people than to be worried about one guy's going to get away. So he wants to find the right guy for the Brewers, and if one of them turns out to be the right guy for the Cubs and he goes away first, and then so be it.
The playoffs look terrific, at least on the National League side, I'll say, just on the outside looking in. I mean, the hottest ticket in sports is not a ticket to the Vikings-Cowboys game. It's a ticket to Game 1 of the National League Championship Series with Lincecum and Roy Halladay, who pitched a no-hitter in Game 1 last week.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get any better than that on the National League side. The American League side, a little less sexy, Yankees and Rangers. I don't see how the Rangers could be given a chance at all.
Yeah, you wonder about that, but back to that pitching matchup. I don't know if we've ever had the reigning Cy Young winner and the 2-time reigning Cy Young winner in Lincecum against the most obvious Cy Young winner from this year. Roy Halladay is going to win the Cy Young Award in the National League this year. He just kind of blew by everybody at the end. So, and then Lincecum struck out 14 batters in the first game against Atlanta with a 2-hitter, and Halladay throws a no-hitter.
Yeah.
His first game ever in postseason. He waited like 10 years to finally get in when everybody goes, well, will he be intimidated? Will the pressure get to him? Yeah, it really got to him bad, And how do you follow that up? If he throws a 2-hitter, boy, he's falling off.
Right.
And so just a tremendous. I just got to believe their ratings are going to be so good for that game. As people say they want offense, but I think a tremendous pitching matchup is more compelling. And I think that's going to be a very important game because imagine the losing side's going to say, gosh, we just had our best guy out there and we didn't win. It put you behind the 8 ball a little bit. And then the Texas Yankees series, I think everybody says Yankees walkover, right? Because they played Texas in the past and always beat them. But at least this time Texas has the home field advantage. We forget the Yankees are the wild card. Tampa Bay actually finished ahead of them, and the Yankees aren't usually the wild card. They're usually the best record type team. So Texas just has to make sure they win one of those first 2 at home because you don't want to go 0-2 at home and then go to New York for 3. You may never come back.
Yeah, right.
So they have an important first couple of games too. And the Yankees have the advantage that Texas had to burn Cliff Lee in Game 5 against Tampa Bay because they're going to come with CC Sabathia, and I think Brewers fans remember what he can do.
Right.
So they're not going to have their best pitcher until maybe Game 3.
Thanks, Tom. Join us again for another edition of JS Sports Insiders.